Hey everybody, my name is Arik and welcome to Gemini season workshop. We're going to talk about what to expect during Gemini season. So it's a really good idea to get wise about where Gemini is manifesting in your chart because it's going to give you a specific insight into how it's impacting and influencing you very specifically within your life. So before we begin, what I want to do is just kind of balance left and right brain. There's a exercise from the Vessel Building app which you can download in the App Store. It's an astrological routine that help you build your vessel for every day, and you'll see why that's really important as I'm explaining more and more about what's available during Gemini. So what we want to do is we want to make a fist with our hands, and we're going to thump over the thymus 9 times in 3 sets, and every time we thump we say ha, okay? So it's like ha ha ha, and you do that 3 times. But before you do that, what you're going to do is you're going to read this and we're going to do it together. So I'll read it first. It's I have love, faith, trust, gratitude, and courage. My life energy is high. I am in a state of love. And then after that, you're going to thump on the thymus and do it like that. So on the count of 3, we're all going to do it together. 1, 2, 3. I have love, faith, trust, gratitude, and courage. My life energy is high. I am in a state of love. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Beautiful. So let's talk about Gemini season, and I think it's really interesting because Gemini comes after Taurus in the astrological wheel. And with Taurus, we try to stay cool. We try to become stable. We try to make everything kind of solid and building it. And it's really intense because the whole universe is set up to help us to change and to help us to move. And with Taurus, we kind of get comfortable. So what happens is that Gemini hits, and then it makes everything flaky, everything bubbly, and Gemini is always thinking about things. It's always thinking about energy. It's kind of taking everything away from Taurus. And so I want to just kind of warn you right off the bat that there are so many influences around us, and they're changing all the time, and we see it even just with the days. There we have daylight, we have nighttime, and so I developed these sunlight meditations to help us to deal with these influences that are around us that are changing all the time, because as humans, we're always looking for that reference point of safety, just to make sure that everything is going to stay the same tomorrow and the day after that. But the thing is that one of the teachings that we get is that this brings death. If we try to make everything the same and consistent, then we become like robots, and then everything goes into death, and that's really just not what we want to do. So Gemini, being an air sign, there's so many things in the air. It's connected to the bronchies, it's connected to the lungs, and there's so many things in the air that want to make us kind of robotic, whether it's trends or ideas or different energies that are taking away our originality and that are exchanging with us without really ever giving anything back, but just making it seem like it's giving. And this is a big trick of Gemini season that we need to be mindful of, that especially if we think we're getting something for free, we are actually paying more, because whenever we're getting or doing or using something for free, we become the product. We become the analytic. We become the data that's being studied. So I think the biggest important thing that we need to keep in mind here is that if we want to keep moving, if we want to stay alive and not get robotic and not become products, we need to keep moving. And that's the way the universe, the solar system is all set up. The best way to stay alive is to move the ground beneath our feet. And what is Earth doing? It's moving all the time. It's spinning, it's rotating, it's moving. That is what the Earth is doing. That is what the atmosphere is doing. That is what our whole setup, our whole program, everything is going on. It's a world of change, and Gemini is a time of change. LOL. Change, 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 change. And that's just really interesting because Gemini, it's changing one way and then it's changing another, and then it's just like, what's your problem? This is how it is, and that's how it was. And it can be kind of flaking and it can drive people kind of crazy. But if you think about the procession, when we started with Aries and how we moved into Taurus and then we moved into Gemini, and even before Aries, we were in Pisces, you have to think about things in a bigger cycle because Gemini is the closing season of the springtime. So there we can make changes since we started the spring equinox, believe it or not. So we can be forced to make changes or we can make changes proactively. And if we are making changes proactively, then we can move on without kind of any kind of catastrophe. So it's about changing and moving ahead. And that's why if we just take a step back and just kind of reflect for a second, that we have Aries, which is very fiery energy, and it really taught us to stop being selfish and to grow up and to kind of get an exodus outside of the selfish nature. And then with Taurus, we have the safety and the security, and we're setting the boundaries, and we're kind of relaxed, and we're trying to hold on for our dear life with the Taurus. And then bam, here comes Gemini. And once again, it's that airy spontaneity, and then it's one here and one there, and one day this way and 1 minute the next, and then we're sure about one thing and then we're not sure, and then there's a problem and then there's not a problem. And I just have to share that with Aurelia. This is so funny. Aurelia and I, we have this experience that we've been to Italy many times, but once we moved here, we started to really see how it's like how things can change so spontaneously. And this is amazing if you have a lot of Gemini energy in your chart, because, by the way, every country is ruled by a different archetype. And Italy happens to be ruled by Gemini. And I always joke with everybody, with our Italian friends and everybody, it's like it makes so much sense because everyone's on the phone all the time and they're moving around and so quickly, and it's one way this way and one day that way, and it's just so funny. And it's amazing because it has this versatility. It has this ability to do exchanges, and also it's just you will learn that through the energy of Gemini, if you have it set up correctly, then you're just doing things the way they should be done, and you are successful with it. And of course, it's with that energy of love. And if anyone knows anything about Italy, it's definitely has an energy of romance and love, and all of that is there. It's because you will learn that the archetype that's connected to Gemini is the lovers. So, and with love, you know what to do and you know how things are to be done. And there are laws with love, and they're not to necessarily keep you under control, but to just make sure that everything is connected and that everything is working great. And actually, one of the most beautiful teachings is that with the laws of love, that they are given to us to really help us connect with the universe. And what happens is that if we don't believe in these laws, then if we don't do them to connect with the universe, then it's said that we should use them to help us in case we get lost. So if we don't believe in the laws of love so that we can connect to the universe, then we can at least become aware of the laws of love to help us within ourselves. So this is a really beautiful thing to do. And I think one of the most important things that we need to understand is that this ability to exchange things from darkness into light. So this is about Gemini season, and where Gemini is ruling in your chart is all about looking for that which needs to be fulfilled with light, but also looking for the excitement. It's different than Taurus that wants to stay placed, it wants to stay stable. Gemini is constantly on the move. It wants to be moving. And it can be flaky, there's no doubt about it. But we need to understand that because there's so much available, there's so many opportunities. And even if you just think about the 12 signs of the zodiac that are within you, every single human being has these 12 different opportunities that have, and that's just simplifying it, but where we can go inside and we can meet each and every one of these different archetypes within us as it's connected to our chart, and these feelings that come up with them, and they change within us all the time, and they're being activated at certain times depending on what the chart is doing. And that's why, when I'm giving chart readings, I'm just kind of seeing like what's being activated now, what needs to be stepped into now, what needs to be released. Because if we don't do that, then we become stale. And if we just and we become stale, we're doing the same thing over and over and over again, or we're getting frustrated, we're getting bored. Gemini doesn't like any of that. And we forget that life is a game. And many of us have forgotten that life is a game, and that the game is playing us rather than we playing the game. But with every game, there's a structure. And if we don't follow the structures, if we're not doing things at the way that they're supposed to be done, we're going to drown. We're going to lose. We're going to drown in the energy of Aries, in the energy of Taurus, in the energy of Gemini, in the energy of Cancer, in the energy of Leo, and so on and so on and so on. And Gemini reminds us of those laws, of those structures, of those, let's call it what it is, frameworks of how we can operate. When we are obeying by the frameworks, it will help us, and it's just the way that things are supposed to be done. So we can get the help from the planets under this consciousness or not. It's always up to us. There's no good sign, there's no bad sign, there's no good planet, there's no bad planet. It's up to us. Everything has a good and a bad aspect, and it's our choice. And that's really what the whole Gemini season is to remind us about, that it's our choice how we experience things. So we can exchange. Do we want to stay the same? Do we want to trade it up? Do we want to upgrade? Do we want to downgrade by not choosing, or by choosing something that our ego wants? That energy of exchange is so prominent with Gemini, because it's that action of giving one thing and receiving another. And with Gemini, we learn we want to do this at the same time, to give and take, to share and receive at the same time. And this is probably, we're not going to get this in one class, but it's a lifelong thing that we can work on, that we can become aware of, and to know that when we're not giving and sharing at the same time, we can crash, because we are hardwired for the universal energy to flow through us, to give and take, to share and receive at the same time. That's the way that it's done, and we can only do this by the energy of restriction. We crash if we do not restrict. So this is about the energy of choice. We have the notion of free will, and our free will is to restrict or not to restrict. So this is about giving when we want to and taking when we want to. And that means restricting when we want to give, and also restricting when we want to take. There is a structure, so that inner electricity that runs through our pathways, especially through the Gemini, because the Gemini pathway is the one that's connecting us to the divine lights, where the energy is first moving into our body, right here, just right here at the shoulder, okay? Specifically on the left, if you're a man, and then on the right if you're a woman. So it's really about this energy, how it's moving in here at these points, and then how it's spreading throughout. It kind of crescendos and cascades throughout the different pathways, but that's a whole different subject. But I want you to know that we have these lights within us that we need to breathe in and exhale with the people around us, because we also need to know that that respiratory function that's controlled by the bronchs and the lungs is controlled by Gemini. So we have the obvious light, and then we also have this hidden light, which is revealed by first becoming aware of it. So let me say, what is the hidden light? The hidden light is kind of like the bliss that we can experience that comes by restricting ourselves and following the structures of the universe. So once again, if we just want to share and we don't restrict, we're going to blow out. If we would just want to take and we're not restricting before we act, we're going to blow out. Every single human being is looking for fulfillment, but they don't know that there's a structure to become fulfilled. If you want to irrigate water, you're just not going to let it flow down the mountain and just drown your field. You have to build like an irrigation system, so that the water can flow down and can go into it. This is just how it's done. And then you can grow the garden, you can bring water to the people, all these things are there. Really, it's a really, really amazing thing to think about. So we have that bliss light, but then we also have the light of desire. So we want to irrigate the light into people's lives, but then we also need to kind of draw that light into our life as well. So that is like we want to build something, or we want new clothes, and then we get new clothes and we never wear them because we can't experience the fulfillment of them. We're not really experiencing the fulfillment of what it is that we've built. And happens to so many people, successful people. Like they've worked so hard, and then they've saved up and they want to manifest something, and then they can't experience it. They cannot experience it because there is a short circuit. There is some kind of blowout that has happened. So if we, once again, getting the perspective, our selfish Aries wants to find that bliss, and another person may be missing, because Aries can be very like selfish and not looking at other people. But with Gemini, what we can do is that we can learn that we can only find bliss by finding another person and learning how to understand them, learning how to speak with them. And that is that energy of exchange, learning through and understanding another person. That is the most beautiful thing that we can do as human beings in order to find bliss. And that's what's available throughout the whole season of Gemini. Removing those blockages to understanding and also becoming aware of them first. So the question arises, how can I love myself and learn through someone else? I'm not going to answer that for you, because this is kind of a paradox. This is something that each and every one of us has to work out. So what I am going to offer you, though, is that the ability to tap into that balance of give and take throughout the season through the meditation that we're going to activate all that beautiful energy. So if you can turn any challenge into excitement, into bliss, then for that moment, for that day, you will become immortal. And then you will have to do it again the next day. So something comes in your reality and it's really difficult for you to handle, but if you can turn it into excitement, then you have succeeded with that energy of Gemini, because everything is set up to help us transform. Everything is set up to help us to change, but we have to exchange our limited knowing into excitement. And this is really the season when we can receive many revelations by doing that and understanding. For example, a good way to be excited is to know that every day is like a different ride that we can take. Every day is like a really powerful way that we can receive energy from the universe and then share it with others. So receive it from the vertical and share with it in the horizontal. And actually, there's a whole section in the book Zodiac Hacks about that. So I highly recommend having a look at that. Actually, let me see just a second. Hold on. So in the second edition of Zodiac Hacks, the book, there is a table of contents that's new, and there you have like the different sections of every single teaching. And on page 128, this is in the section of Gemini. No, I'm mistaken. 104, page 104. You have here, I'm just going to read for the transmission. Gemini is the final month of the spring season, which is a good time to do some cleaning. Given that the theme of the month of Gemini is one of relations and teamwork, now is a great time to tidy up all kinds of relationships. So, understanding each other, right? So, I'm just expanding a little bit on that, because this is about finding someone that you can learn from and understand and also communicate with. And this is so much easier said than done, but it's something that we can become aware of. So it says, just as we would get rid of a shirt that no longer fits our body or style, Funny how I was just talking about the clothes that we never wear. We should now look to be rid of identities that no longer suit. Hence, changing the identity we wear will determine the type of dealings and relationships we enter. So, if we're talking about, once again, going back to the clothes or things that you buy and you never use, if you think about the identities that maybe you haven't tapped into or that you haven't accepted yet, because Gemini is also a lot about identities. So, it's about things that maybe potentials that you have not really allowed yourself to step into. It goes on to say, our task is to identify any negative connection our relationships are providing so that we can cut the attachment and raise the vibration. Now is the time to discern healthy from unhealthy relationships. In order to successfully review our relationship status, we must understand that there are two types of relationships, vertical and horizontal. Vertical relationships are stable and have circuitry because they are based in alignment. Horizontal relationships expire and serve a short-lived purpose because they are based on involvement. The differences between alignment and involvement are like day and night. On an energetic level, alignment is based within the heart vortex, whereas involvement is based within the solar plexus vortex. Essentially, alignment has to do with love and devotion, whereas involvement has to do with supply and demand. Each type of relationship serves its purpose, for one is not better than the other. And it goes on to, it goes on and on there, and depending on the version that you have. But either way, that's right underneath in the relationships, a reason, a season, or a lifetime in the Gemini chapter. So that is the most beautiful thing, that I think that we get the energy so that we can share it. And in Gemini season, what tends to happen is that rather than working on the actions, we obsess over the thinking of it. We obsess over our choices because we go a bit crazy sometimes trying to find the right choice. There's also a section in there about the right and wrong choices, that we don't need to make ourselves crazy, because the thing is that no matter what choice we do, our fate is going to find us. So it's not that we can overcome it like in the cheating kind of way. We can transcend it by becoming aware of it and maybe making different choices where we can know that the subconscious and the conscious mind are going to work to help us to grow, and it's not going to pull us back if we're being honest and open and present with ourselves and with others. And I think the most important thing with that is that we have the energy of love. And that's why the archetype for this Gemini is the lovers. It's the lovers. The scent is lavender. We have the Gemini essential oil blend. We have the spray, which is just divine. And then the crystals, orange agate, which you can order. Just send us a message. We have some because it's also connected to the energy that's available now. So it's about the energy of love and experiencing love, and not trying to go down the dualistic ideas of right and wrong, punishment, reward. If we carry the message of sharing and love, then we're going to elevate and become effective. And that's so beautiful if we understand that, because love is that ingredient for success. Love is that energy that helps us to push forward. And it's also at the same time the greatest difficulty, because the ego wants to get in there and do things. It doesn't like that idea of love, that love's just going to take care of everything, because it sounds a little bit foo-foo. But really, we can become chosen by making the choice to move forward, and by choosing love and thereby becoming special. Every one of us is supposed to get in this state of love. But the thing is that we don't all choose it in the day-to-day life. We don't choose that path. We don't choose to go on that way. So it's our choice, and knowing that it's other people's choices as well. We cannot choose for others, whether it's our spouse, our friends, our girlfriend, our boyfriend, even our colleagues, friends, whatever. We cannot choose for them, but we can choose for ourselves, and that's something that we have to remember. And then as we are choosing for ourselves, we are going to attract people who are choosing for themselves and knowing that they're choosing for themselves, and who are choosing that energy of love as well. And no one, remember, no one can do it for us. And the degree, how many times we choose love, is going to show us how much love is in our life. So we choose love by restricting, and then we can have everything. And this isn't about, oh, I'm choosing to do the right thing because that's love and I'm so holy and I'm so great. No, that's selfish. That is not love. Sometimes love comes with a frown. This is something Aurelia has taught me since day one, that sometimes love is unchanged, but it comes with the frown. That energy of tough love. But sometimes we're just way too codependent with our ego, and we think that I have to do this because that's what love is. So we have this notion of the three ways the archetypes are, or the three components of this archetype is bringing that idea of love through the energy of the golden rule. Love others as you love yourself. Not loving yourself first, but the law of you will love others as you love yourself. And even if you love yourself a little bit, if you can just get that little bit of love and love others from that place, there is a lot of energy and a lot of love to be experienced there. Even in that little bit of love, it doesn't matter because you can't really quantify love. If it's there, then you can express it. And that's probably one of the most beautiful things that we can understand. And that's what we can share. So even if you have like a really bad day, there's some love inside of you that you can access, and that's the love you can share with others, just by being yourself and knowing that every day is different and every day is going to change, because that's how, that's the only way that we can understand that actually astrology is working. Because how could it be I wake up one day and I feel like crap and the next day I feel great? It's the planets, it's the stars, and it's us needing to become aware of what's going on with all of them. Gemini is really bouncy, as you can tell, but really the will of God is to not just give and to never take. That God does not want us to just give, and not take. We're human. We need to receive. We are created to receive. And when we're suppressing because we're fulfilling that ego idea that we don't need to receive, sooner or later we're going to explode. But the Holy One within us is just faking it and hiding it and pretending to be humble. And it's being totally selfish and opening up to attacks of guilt, hiding, and that just all has to be suppressed over and over and over again. But it's a mistake. We need that exchange of give and take, of sharing and receiving. And that's what we do in Gemini season. And we need to bring these two opposites together. As you can see, the man and the woman, the sharing and the receiving, we need to bring them together through that energy of the angel, which we're going to access every year on June 12th. But we have to do it, because if we bring them together just like that, they blow out. So that's why we need that exchange, that catalyst energy, so that we can do it in a way that is not blowing out the field, but irrigating the electricity through our bodies. And this is why also it's so important that we're doing that throughout the whole entire season, specifically through our bodies. And that's what I want to talk very quickly about here. We have the energy pathways within our body. I mentioned it earlier. It starts here on the shoulder and it goes down the arm all the way to the thumb. You can see it. It's only on the front side. It's on the right and the left side. And this is what's called the Gemini pathway in astrology. And this is associated with our lungs. And what's really interesting is that we cannot live without air for 3 minutes. Now, at the same time, because there's so much stuff in the air, the lungs are essential because they're responsible for that respiration. And again, I'm going to say that word again, exchange of gases, mostly oxygen and carbon dioxide, but it also exchanges the chi and the energy, and the lungs are responsible for helping us to detox as well. So we need the lungs to speak and to sing and to make vocalizations. And we also need the lungs to draw air in and the energy in. And we cannot hold on to our breath because otherwise we're going to die. The lungs are a perfect example of that responsibility to give and take, to share and receive, and has so many benefits. The detoxification, increasing oxygen levels in the body, And that does so many things as well. So, with that said, I want to get into the workshop. Thank you so much for listening. All right, so what I want you to do is to get acquainted with both of these cards. So we have Gemini, the lovers, and we have the magician, which is the planet that rules over Gemini, connected to Mercury. What I want you to do is to write down what you want the sunlight of Gemini season to show you. What do you want to be revealed? And to get acquainted with where Gemini is ruling in your chart and just kind of get an idea of what this all means to you. Pause the video, use the workbook, and when you're ready, come back and I'm going to guide you through the meditation to activate this sunlight energy that's available. Okay, excellent. So I want you to get into a meditative state of mind, and I want you to just look at this card you see here on the screen. This is from the Cosmic Pixels deck. Looking at this card on your screen, I want you to inhale through your mouth and hold, and exhale through your mouth. And inhale through your mouth again, and hold, and exhale through your mouth. Breathe in your rhythm and close your eyes. And I want you to see the tarot card in front of your inner eye. Blow it up to life size. And you notice a glass door between you and the card. I want you to open the glass door and step into the card. Have a look around in the environment and notice anything that stands out. And now, the optional next step is if you see within your environment the Magician card, I would like for you to approach it. Blow this card up to life size and open the glass door between you and the card. Step into this card and look around the environment, noticing anything that stands out. And now I want you to bring your focus onto your shoulders, and you allow this focus to funnel down your chest and into your solar plexus. And at the solar plexus, you notice an inner light that fills your body with bliss and excitement and happiness and love. And as this love fills every cell of your body, the oxygen levels in your body improve. With these higher oxygen levels, you increase your energy, your cognitive functions, and your ability to resist infections on all levels. You allow this energy to heal your lungs and increase the energy in your body and in your life. Of course, this means that pollution and toxins have no room within your light being. And we exhale it out and purify it as it leaves. Inhale through your mouth, hold, and exhale through your mouth. We allow the environments to purify anything we've missed. We're creating good environments to work on our relationships and to have clarity about our choices. The cosmos enters your body and helps you to exchange with it, receive and share simultaneously. We cannot live without this exchange. As we inhale and exhale and share and receive, we fuel the beautiful light in our solar plexus with endless energy for all the choices that we have, will, and would like to make from our essential self. We understand the system that the light needs to flow through. And we allow this light to exchange with our environments simply by breathing from your environment and into your environment, and seeing how your environment is connected to other environments, and how all these other environments are connected to one environment. In this state of oneness, we will now pre-program Gemini season ahead by radiating more of this light into the environment that will return to you throughout the season in ways seen and unseen. Inhale through your mouth all these environments and hold, and exhale into these environments. Resume normal breathing. Take notice of what is revealed by this light, and know that you have the choice to change your fate and achieve your purpose. Now say goodbye to the environment if you are in the Magician, and approach the door you used to enter the card. Step out of the card and close the glass door behind you, and shrink the card back to its original size. Now all of us, we say goodbye to the environment of the lovers. We approach the door we used to enter the card, and we step out of the card, closing the glass door behind you, shrinking the card back to its original size. Now you can open your eyes and write down your experience in the stream of consciousness. Have a wonderful Gemini season. Thank you.